Good afternoon. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you've had a great trading session. The markets continue to march into new all-time highs with the SPX hitting above 6,100 for the first time ever and having its first closing high of the year as prospects for earnings growth remain healthy. And we also had remarks from President Trump earlier in the day that sparked some optimism and also gave us a little bit of intraday volatility. The S&P 500 closed about half a percentage point higher towards that 61,1872, setting a record for the first time since December 6th. The index also surpassed its intraday high during today's trading. The Dow and Nasdaq also closed higher by about 1% and then 0.2 respectively. We've had a good fundamental season so far as earnings goes, because for the most part they've all been pretty good, and next week could even be better as the biggest tech companies report, especially with Microsoft, and we'll get to that in a second. But consensus supports 18% earnings per share growth so far for the Mag 7 compared to 9% for the median S&P 500 companies in this year. Tech stocks, yeah, they spent most of their day, yeah, as you can see, pretty much sideways, nothing too crazy. I mean, we had a little bit of a slow trend, slow grind up, but for the most part, we didn't get a sizable move until the last 10 minutes, really. And when that 350 candle came in, that's where this big jump higher came about. But it was a pretty interesting session, just because we had Trump today, and the markets were focused on that, and it was interesting. It was a video address, and then he did a Q&A session, and he talked about some interesting stuff. Talking about coal, bringing back coal, and he said he also wants to lower oil prices, and he's asking OPEC and Saudi Arabia to do so. And he wants, for businesses to make products in the United States. And he said that he would even give companies that do make products in the U.S. Very low tax brackets. He said, "We will give you among the lowest taxes of any nation on earth." I have a terrible Trump impersonation, but that's what he said. He did say, he also added that if businesses don't make their products in the United States, then they will have to pay tariffs to fund the Treasury and help America pay down its debt. And we saw a pretty interesting reaction to this, especially with Apple, because Apple makes zero of their products within the United States. And we day traded Apple this morning. We were actually long on Apple twice, actually. The first time we got stopped out, and then the second time we finally got this nice push to the upside. But once the Trump came on at about 11, that's where things started to get a little ugly there for Apple, especially when he was making those comments, and it never fully recovered. In fact, just closed right where we closed yesterday, right about that 223, 224 zone. And yeah, it's just one of those things. Apple doesn't make any products here, and I think they took a little bit of a hit on that. And if you look on the daily time frame of Apple, you can see that it's still, it had a little bit of a dead cat bounce yesterday and some follow through today, but it's nowhere near where it needs to be as far as bullishness goes. But we're still keeping an eye on that. U.S. debt has been the top of the mind for a lot of investors and a lot of bond investors who have look at the 10-year Treasury yield, which is still hanging around that 4.7% mark. So yeah, it's just it's a tricky environment for sure. It's still bullish, no doubt about that, especially when you look at all-time highs on the SPX, and we got the debt ceiling looming and yada yada. There's just a lot of going on, really. But all in all, a really good, strong market is still in the frame here. And next week we got a lot of juicy stuff coming up. We got earnings from Microsoft coming up. We got Meta, and Meta's trying to break out of this zone here. If it can break out above 638, we're looking at higher prices for Meta and new lifetime highs. And then you also got earnings from Tesla. All three of these guys report earnings next Wednesday. So next Wednesday is going to be absolutely insane. We also have FOMC next week. So that's going to be it's just going to be absolutely insane. As you can see here, FOMC statement Wednesday at 2:00, and then you got the press conference by Powell at 2:30. Yeah, to say things are busy is an understatement. So let's take a look here at the scores here. SPY, yeah, it still gives a neutral, but this is just all because this is in the incorrect position. You got that daily squeeze firing long, strong daily thrust. We've broken all of our key levels here, 602, 606, and we're just chucking along here to the upside. Now we have to pretty much figure out where our next target could possibly be, and I'm just going to draw a fib here from the swing low to swing high, and that doesn't really do it for me. Let me do something else here. I want to draw from this because this is our wedge pattern breakout too, so I'm going to do it like so. Let me double tap that. Yeah, that brings us to about 627 as a possible overhead target. That would be pretty interesting. I want to measure this just for funs and giggles. Yeah, you've already broken that, so that doesn't make too much sense, does it? Okay, so our next target's going to be about that 627 mark to the upside. That would be a measured move off of our wedge breakout. 627, 625 zone is where we would have it. But overall, max bull on the hourly. If we go to the Qs, we can see that the Qs are now in a strong bull environment with the daily squeeze still setting up. Hourly, again, it still has a little bit more wiggle room compared to the spider, and you got room to about 536.78, above 536.78. That does open the door to new all-time highs at about the 539.15 mark. Small caps, yeah, got a little interesting from small caps. I do like possible longs here. Trump said that he's going to do what he can to lower interest rates, but you might have to bump heads there with Papa Powell, and I know the media is going to be asking Powell about that and see if Trump is pressuring him to lower interest rates, despite him saying that they're going to take their time and all this other good stuff that we've talked about before. But with that being said, you got a nice hourly mid-level compression. Is 233 on the table? It certainly looks like that from my end. So IWM, I might take a swing at this. I didn't get in today. I'm going to keep an eye on it tomorrow to see if it gives us any kinds of opportunities. As far as some good, strong stocks that I'm keeping an eye on, I got Google with a good bullish squeeze. Looks pretty good on my end. I have not picking up anything new today. I did see that Kramer said that that there's nothing stopping Palantir. So is the anti-Kramer scenario going to hit, or is Palantir going to keep on pushing towards all-time highs? So we'll see. Palantir has earnings coming up pretty soon, so we'll keep an eye on it. But it's still very strong start. You got names like Roblox that looks pretty good. And Hood continues to look pretty strong, and Dick's Sporting Goods new lifetime highs on this one, breaking out into the 246 3/4. This thing can definitely go higher, especially with that daily squeeze, and I am a long-term holder of that, so looks pretty good. All right, tomorrow we have a little bit of economic data. Let me pull that back up. We have the Flash Services PMI and the Flash Services PMI right there at 9:45 for all you opening range traders. And then at 10 o'clock, we have existing home sales and consumer sentiment at 10 o'clock. So be on the lookout for that. And then again, next week, things heat up substantially. But all right, that's going to be it for today. Hope y'all had a great session. Close out the week strong. Remember, it is Friday tomorrow. Do not trade heavy on a Friday. Do not try to make back any losses. Keep it sweet, keep it simple, and keep your week green if you are green. All right, guys, take it easy. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.